The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series premiered to Western audiences on August 28th of 1993 on the now defunct Fox Kids programming. Created by Haim Saban and Shuki Levy, they based it on the Kyo-Ryu Sentai Zyu Ranger or Dinosaur Squad, a Japanese tokusatsu series, the 16th installment of the Toei Super Sentai franchise. The show centers around a group of teenagers who were chosen by their mentor, Zordon, an alien trapped in some sort of digiverse to wield superhuman powers in different coloured suits, fighting Rita Repulsa and other aliens who were sent to torment Earth. This campy display of martial arts and Japanese robot costumes took the world by storm, with little kids everywhere, including myself, wanting to become a Power Ranger. I was the red one, just in case you were wondering. The original cast consisted of Austin St. John as the Red Ranger, David Yost as the Blue Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson as the Pink Ranger, Walter Emmanuel Jones as the Black Ranger, Thuy Trang as the Yellow Ranger, and finally Jason David Frank joining later as the Green Ranger. The latter two have since passed away, but we'll get to that pretty soon. After the initial boom of the critical acclaim the series brought to Saban Entertainment, it was met with some pretty serious pushback from various sources. Depictions of violence were the first to come in, with multiple broadcasting standards authorities removing the show from programming altogether. Parents were reporting that their kids were breaking out into full-on fistfights on the playground and claiming to be Power Rangers. Again, I was the red one. The working conditions for the Rangers were also awful, citing low pay, long hours, and hostile crew members among others. This, coupled with David Yost constantly being hassled about his sexuality by production staff, it was no wonder the team saw 3 members leave halfway through the second season. Mighty Morphin was taken off the air in November of 1997. Obviously new series ensued, but this was only the beginning of Power Rangers controversy. The Power Rangers curse was a phrase coined as a result of multiple cast members dying too early or incredibly mysteriously, most of whom didn't even make it to 50 years of age. The reason? No one really knows. But the general consensus is all you had to do was be associated with the Power Rangers franchise and you would succumb to its untimely curse. People like to think that Thuy Trang was the original victim of this curse, but there was someone who died a full year before her that had quite a lot to do with the series. The first alleged victim of this series was Bob Manahan. He was the second Zordon, but the original voice. Manahan passed away in 2000 at the age of 43 of a heart aneurysm, which he had reportedly no prior heart issues whatsoever. This was treated as an isolated incident and the curse phrase wouldn't be coined for another 2 years. The next person to pass was Eric Frank, real-life brother of Jason David Frank. Eric played David Trueheart in the Power Rangers Zeo series, the long-lost brother of Tommy Oliver, who was played by Jason David Frank. Eric died in April of 2001 and to this day no one knows why. All reports of his death are specified as unknown, with one article claiming his death was a case of impairment of well-being. Whatever that means. He wasn't even 30 by the time of his passing. The most notable of these deaths, and the one that coined the phrase the Power Rangers curse, is that of Thuy Trang, the original Yellow Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. Thuy and 2 friends were travelling by car when the driver lost control on some loose gravel, sending the vehicle into a cliff face. The other 2 passengers survived with critical injuries, resulting in one of them becoming a quadriplegic. Thuy was seen to by EMTs but unfortunately passed away in transit to the hospital. Ex-co-stars Amy Jo Johnson and David Yost attended the funeral, however due to the closeness of Eric Frank's passing, Jason was unable to attend. These 3 deaths within a year of each other, it began to arouse suspicion, especially with the online armchair tinfoil hat-wearing community, that there was a great conspiracy at hand. Death wasn't the only thing the Power Rangers curse was blamed on. Members of the original cast dealt with serious financial, physical, and mental hardship, including that of St. John becoming homeless after leaving the series due to poor wages, basically constituting a paycheck-to-paycheck scenario. David Yost subjected himself to conversion therapy after being mentally abused consistently by the crew. Thankfully, both men are in a much better place, but the same thing can't be said for Ricardo Medina Jr., who pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter after killing his 38-year-old roommate with a Conan the Barbarian-style sword after a dispute about rent. Another major story to come out of the franchise was about Skylar DeLeon. At 14, DeLeon starred in a few episodes of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from 1993 to 1994. Years later, DeLeon confessed to the murder of Thomas and Jackie Hawks, and he was sentenced to death. DeLeon, along with his ex-wife Jennifer Henderson, were in a large amount of financial debt. They were both convicted for the murders of the Hawks, who were wealthy yacht owners. DeLeon and Henderson killed the Hawks at sea, and their bodies were never recovered. Another curious case that's quite close to home is that of Pua Magasiva. Pua played Shane Clark in the Power Rangers Ninja Storm series. Pua had been convicted of domestic assault against his wife in April, 15 days before he passed. Pua was sentenced to 70 hours of community work and 6 months of supervision. According to his widow, during a tell-all photo shoot after his death, he had engaged in a regular pattern of abuse. He concussed her 3 times and threatened to harm her, himself, or their daughter if she went to the police. She claimed to have later found a diary belonging to him, showing pages of haunting images, tortured thoughts, and self-loathing, and admitting that he had always been violent and angry. On the 11th of May 2019, Pua Magasiva died of a suspected suicide in a hotel room in Wellington. The most recent case of the alleged curse was that of Jason David Frank, who sadly took his own life at the age of 49 in 2022. Known as Tommy Oliver on the series, Jason David Frank came to be known as the favourite ranger for many young people growing up. As well as an actor, he was a mixed martial artist, a filmmaker, and a father. Hopefully this is the final case that we see come from this curse. As many as 32, possibly even more cast and crew, have passed since the beginning of this series almost 30 years ago. Although the idea of the curse wraps up these unfortunate happenings in a neat little package, the truth of the matter is that these people are just a few of many in the media industry around this time who are subject to terrible conditions in order to provide entertainment to the masses. Terrible times. Gone but not forgotten.